boys, we have a new Paul Heyman guy, 1. We have a new Universal Champion, 2. We have new women's tag team champions. We have that 3. We have all these things happening. And Monday Night Raw, which was a story in and of itself, was was yesterday. What are our thoughts? What taking it off on Payback? Like, what were you guys' thoughts?
Loved everything about it. Loved it. Let me tell you something. I think this is the first pay-per-view that they've actually had. Every match was a clean victory.
Yeah.
Every match was a clean victory. Keith Lee, despite the fact that he had a kind of Raw debut, made up for it. He made up for his debut. Creative went the right way on that one. The elephant in the room, the big dog, his new tagline now, wreck everything and leave. Wow. If anybody didn't have any doubts about this man turning heel, he is heel, full blown. The man did not come out until literally Strowman and Bray killed each other. You know, and like you said, we have a new Paul Heyman guy, and he is the Universal Champion, and he will be the top heel on SmackDown.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think because, like, we were all kind of clamoring for this for years, right? It's been 5 years since he's first had this little singles push, and this experiment has led to the main events of WrestleMania, has led to the Suffer and Succotash, it's led to the Royal Rumble wins. You name it, it's led to that. And finally, when you just let the dude be himself, or even just, you know, like, just put him where he could just thrive, like, to himself. He doesn't have to be scripted. Like, Vince McMahon's not writing lines. You just give him the bare bones of what he needs to do. He'll actually figure it out. I think that is absolutely fantastic with the Roman Reigns situation. Kid Ty, People's Champ, what are you guys' thoughts?
For the first time since Hulu's NXT, my boy's heel, man. It's Roman Reigns time, except this time it's wreck everyone and leave. I like to think that the seed's been planted years ago, beginning with Paul Heyman planting those seeds, even from the interview from Hartford, from the WWE headquarters, back in that big snowstorm back in 2015, the night after the Royal Rumble event. And me and Kid Ty, we chopped it up yesterday about this, and I remember he mentioned the fact that it wasn't the fact that you were going to push him, it was the fact that how you delivered the push. Nevertheless, it happened. That's something we can't lament on anymore. We're in 2020 at this point. But to go back to even to the middle of it, Heyman's been sprinkling this idea for years, where he's worked or basically been around Alpha and Sika since the time he was 15 years old, you know, hiding in the production meetings at Madison Square Garden when they were hosting shows for WWF at the time. He had a profound respect for that Samoan dynasty and the fact that you saw Roman as a guy not only to continue the dynasty, but to be a pillar moving forward for the future of that Samoan dynasty bloodline. And he saw money in Roman. It was only a matter of time it wasn't a matter of if, but when. And to allude to that, you know, when me and Ty were chopping it up, he mentioned the fact that you didn't have to basically sacrifice the, you know, not just the integrity, but sacrifice other stars in the running for Roman just to have his moment in the sun. He was going to get there gradually. It was a moment of how you handled the story with care. You saw money when you saw a guy like Roman. It was just a matter of, one, giving him something to work with, and B, not making sure that everyone along the way is somewhat protected. You don't have to basically say, oh, everyone has to look strongest in the third, but make sure that it has purpose in every storyline he's infused himself in. You know, when he came back in SummerSlam and said, look, I made you, you know, to Braun Strowman, Ty last week disagreed with that aspect. I actually agree with the sentiment, the fact that he made Braun Strowman. You know, sure, when he came on the main roster, he was part of the Wyatts as the big muscle. But before they actually had that feud, Braun was just coming in and defeating no-name jobbers per week, you know, and just basically just saying, well, I'm strong, I come in. Basically that whole rhetoric, feeding him guys that, you know, you can pass through. Up until he got to Roman, that was Roman's at least first legitimate feud where he can make a star, not just out of himself, but somebody else. And then with Bray Wyatt as well. He's had great feuds with both men. And now as a heel, it provides a question of what can he do moving forward, and how that the story provides itself for both men involved in the feud with Roman, because they're all intertwined in that web of, you know, they all have made each other better. And it's fun to see what can provide, what comes forth moving forward.
So, a couple things. Like, you know, Ty has made mention of the podcast before. Shout out to Solid Monster if, you know, you guys are on YouTube and all that. A couple days back was listening to basically his take on the matter, and more or less he echoed some of these sentiments. You know, we were certain people were talking about how great Raw was. We were discussing how wild and newsworthy and noteworthy, excuse me, not Raw, but SmackDown was. He happened to not like it, Solid Monster. And the last 10 seconds, he was just like, made the entire show for him, essentially, because of this whole avenue of Paul Heyman being, you know, by, you know, Roman, cementing this quote unquote heel persona that he now has. But the downside of it for him and many people as well is the fact that who is in this little 3-person, you know, race for the Universal Champ is a particular heel. Question for all of you guys. I actually do. I want to touch on this. Is the whole dynamic between, like, does this storyline need a babyface per se? Or is it a situation where the characters, like, individually can, you know, see it through? Kid Ty.
You can't really make one in this one outside of Bray. Like, and that's a problem in itself. Like, I'm not saying that Bray can't be an enjoyable figure, like typically babyfaces are. But I will say that this, as Randy said, it's a 3-way race to the top. And you have 3 of the most imposing characters, regardless of how you feel about them. These are 3 very imposing characters for very different reasons. And in reality, with the, I guess, affiliative ambiguity that Roman has as a character, where people are still up in the air as to whether he is a face or a heel, wherever he leans towards, all you know is that he's hell-bent on destruction. He doesn't care how many bodies are in the way of him getting to the top. It can go any way you want it to. Most likely in the heel direction, because that's what's been rumored and that's how he's been acting. But, I mean, we all grew up on the Attitude Era in some shape or form. Stone Cold Steve Austin was a thing, so you never know. Braun Strowman is clearly not caring about anybody either, in a very similar fashion, but he's a much more hateable figure the way he's gone about the things he's done recently. I mean, he almost risked a whole woman's life just to prove a point, right? So, and then Bray just is psychotic. Bray doesn't even have to have an affiliation. Bray's a whole walking warning sign.
Yeah.
So in reality, it's 3 people with the same goal who all do not care who gets sacrificed in the midst of getting to that goal. I think that story in itself warrants the attention. It doesn't necessarily matter who the heel is. It's a matter of who stands on top at the end of this trifecta of destruction.
Yeah.
So I think that's more important.
Yeah, I feel like that, you know, I felt that way as well, because, like, you touched on the fact Attitude Era, right? And, like, as I was hearing this, like, rhetoric from whether it be a Solid Monster, whether it be a Well Culture, whether it be what Wrestle Talk, whatever, wherever you get the mediums from, it's like, you know, wrestling, especially in the heyday, the Attitude Era, and even the Ruthless Aggression Era, there was so much shades of gray with the characters when you look back on it. Like, it's not like everyone was cut and dry one thing or another. 1997, ain't nobody could tell you who was a face. Like, was Shawn Michaels a face? Was Undertaker the face? Was Triple H a face? Was Bret Hart a face? Stone Cold. There was so
Bret was a face outside of the U.S.
Exactly.
for some reason.
Exactly.
That was actually a clever idea on Vince's part. I'll give him credit.
Exactly. So it's so much of those different layers, and we're gonna get into it later with the Bray.
I actually did want to say one point.
Yeah.
In this situation, I think that people are kind of like always alert, like they're kind of like sensitive to that notion that there has to be a baby face and a heel for the story to make sense. And a lot of times when you play with characters like anti-heroes, when you play with tweeners, when you play with characters that don't have a clear-cut affiliation, I can understand why some fans and a good amount of fans will sit there and be like, oh, well, I don't really know how to get invested, what to this and that. And, the storyline obviously is what picks up and gets you invested. And I understand it's like playing with fire, right? Most people associate fire with destruction, which is what a lot of people, associate there not being a clear-cut face or heel in a storyline with dismay and disarray, right? So the thing is, fire can also be used as a way to create light, to light a path, to shed away, to keep warmth. It can be productive. You just have to have a clear-cut direction with it. So for the people that don't really know where to go with this, let the storyline ease you into seeing their motives, seeing where to go. You choose who to root for. It's a very isolated situation, so it's not going to cause too much problems as long as they write it the right way and make you care. So in this case, you don't need a clear-cut face or heel. If anything, it gives you the more option to choose who you want to win. But I have a feeling after this feud is over, you're going to know exactly where everybody stands.
Yeah. Big E, People's Champ. There is a big elephant in the room with Roman Reigns. He is this Paul Heyman guy. And apparently, based on recent events and recent rumors about Brock Lesnar, he may be the Paul Heyman guy. Your thoughts on that whole landscape, that whole thing?
Brock Lesnar, what can we say? Well, Brock Lesnar, he's been in the EU now for what?
8 years.
Almost 8 years, 9 years, 9 years. So, I mean, he's the conqueror of Vince's bank account. And he's basically reconstructing his contract. This is hardball. If anybody has been following the rumors lately, it's just a lot of media sites are hyping it up as saying that he's a free agent. There's also the annual rumors of him going back to UFC for a super fight, with UFC doing the Fight Island and everything. Listen, if Brock Lesnar does by any chance end up going back to UFC, even if it's just a 3-fight deal, 1-fight deal, whatever it may be, this definitely gives Roman Reigns a time to shine. A lot of people expect Heyman to be the snake that he is as his on-character persona, to turn on him as soon as, Brock shows up. But I don't see that happening for some reason. I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening because right now, especially with Brock as a person, we all know he doesn't really sell for too many people. He doesn't have faith in too many people. He is about himself most of the time. That's his personality. He's about himself. He has his favorites. He has people that he likes to work with, Roman being one of them. So it's kind of the head nod. It's like, okay, you're ready for this. You can handle it. So it's reconstruction on the business side aspect of it. He will get his money. I think right now it's just the fact that with everything going on in the world with the COVID and everything, and being that WWE doesn't have the means as they would around this time, they probably don't have enough that Brock Lesnar might be asking for. So it's like he doesn't want to take a cut. I know there was a rumor going around that, travel banned and he didn't want to perform because of, no fans in the building, but now they got the Thunderdome, so I don't know how he feels
the only person
about
from
that.
Canada that got to the U.S.
Hold
Yeah.
They saw Brock and said, no, we can't afford
Yeah.
to lose these many cops. Blue Lives Matter. That's what they said. Seeing Brock Lesnar. Jesus.
Right. So we don't know exactly what's going on, but it's a good nod. It's a win-win situation for Roman because he gets the nod as a Paul Heyman guy. And then not only that, he gets to step outside his character. I mean, we have seen him be a heel before in NXT, like as to People's Champs, what he said, he comes out suit and tie, but now he's more of a badass heel. You know, he's more of a
where he was in the Shield, essentially, except more. He's spoken a lot
more
more.
ruthless.
Yeah.
He's more ruthless. He's more outspoken. He's more of listen. Like, what's the first thing he said before he signed the contract? He was like, "I'm not signing this,
I'm gonna keep it
but I
real.
promise you, I'll be there."
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it real. It's 2014. When I hear people like it's like the first time I've seen Roman heel since XY. It's 2014. It's like
2014. This is the first time we've seen him by himself.
Well, yes, but in the same token, like you had those remnants there, starting when they had that little feud with CM Punk. That was when you knew they were splitting them up. We didn't know when it was going to happen, but they were doing the singles matches with Dean. It was a gauntlet, essentially. It was like, I'm going to do a singles match with Dean. I'm going to do a singles match with Seth. I'm going to do a single match with Roman. Once that happened, and then they had a little spat between those two, you just knew something was happening. And then they flipped it on us and said, maybe they're just going to turn full on face and then everything's going to be oopsie daisy. But it wasn't necessarily the case. But Roman, Seth, and Dean, all three of them, especially Dean at that time, because we all thought that was going to be the breakout star in our eyes because of the U.S. Championship and whatnot. That was going to be their singles push. So we saw these remnants there. And also with the whole Brock thing, if Brock don't like to fight people in the company that is perceived as one that is scripted, heavily scripted, and he can protect his spots, he damn sure ain't gonna want to come back to UFC. Not on a full-time schedule, not on a 2-fight schedule, maybe not even on a 1-fight schedule. He just probably like sniffing the breeze. We seen this negotiation situation.
Yeah, this is his tactics. This happens every like 2 or 3, not even 2 to 3 years.
Every
3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
3 to 4 years, he gets so quote unquote fed up, and then he just reconstructs his contract.
Watch your tone.
You're right.
Be watching.
As much
as watching.
we give to Brock, though,
coming through my door right now.
As much as we give to Brock, he is a very, very brilliant businessman. He is a self-promoter.
I mean,
he's certain things like that. He's very, very brilliant and tactical when it comes to getting what he wants.
I think his personality kind of
demands both wheels, to be honest.
He knows how to protect his brand, and that's kind of why, like, when you were saying, like, you know, he doesn't sell for everybody. You know, he's gonna get his bag. If he has to go back to the UFC, I was sitting here like, he knows. Like, you're right. He knows how to protect himself. He does sell for the people. He does sell when needed. Like, even if he doesn't like it, if he's gonna get a big payday, he's gonna do it. Especially if there's like in the Goldberg situation, he saw business as business, and he let himself get jobbed out in under a minute. You know, so like it depends on the situation. What I will say is that I don't think he's gonna be leaving WWE for long. If he's even leaving, you know, like, I don't think he wants to risk ruining his brand by getting into the UFC. As great of an athlete as Brock Lesnar is, he can do it, but he doesn't have to do it. It's the thing. It's not a matter, but if you if you need to, it's more so, do you want to with Brock? And
there's also the biggest element of like going in, because you mentioned the mystique. Last time he was in, he got busted. So it's like,
there was that whole controversy. It was like
kind of taken away with the new protocol that the UFC has, because the drug testing over there is more stricter than it is in the WWE.
It was very reminiscent of Bas Rutten's return to the cage in 2005 when he got his victory, and then everybody was like, you know, everyone was saying he was taking this, he's taking that, and he had to put out a whole disclaimer saying this is what actually happened. But by that point, the stigma set in. So for Brock, if anything, Brock would just be used as a giant buy rate like sticker by Dana, and he has a security in WWE. Like you said, in some way, shape, or form, he has Vince in his back pocket, and he can be inserted into any storyline he wants. He can do whatever he needs, and if he's just going to be doing like dream matches or whatever, it doesn't matter as long as the paper is there, and he has a guaranteed place to make some money, go back to where he lives, and just belly to belly trees.
You know what it is? You know what it is? A lot of people say that Roman gets inserted into the championship scene automatically, but people forget that Brock gets the same treatment.
Oh, we don't forget.
This is why I say, no, a lot of people do forget.
I'll never forget. I suffered for 3 years.
He's in Vince's back pocket, just like you said to your point.
He's going after your title next.
But what is
Listen,
like that? Do you blame him, though?
No, I don't blame him at all.
Like,
I do not blame him for that. because if my thing is this, if I'm the biggest attraction in WWE or one of the biggest, and I'm getting paid all this money, I'm coming for the top prize. I'm not coming to do a one-shot deal. I'm coming for the top prize. I'm coming to hold on to this title.
So let's sit on that for a sec, because like grander scheme of things, we have Roman Reigns come back. Obviously, that was the biggest thing. But this past week on Friday Night SmackDown, we had Sami Zayn, and as you mentioned, Brock Lesnar. He is doing the free agency deal, but it's all but certain that he will probably get a deal in the coming weeks. Knock on some wood. How do you guys feel like the creative direction is in general for, like, is it trending in the right direction for WWE as a whole? You have the Roman situation, but for the, you have the people that are in the tier below. You have the, your MVPs of the world. You have the Bobby Lashley's. You have the tag team divisions. You have all these different things. What do you guys like general ideas of how the creative is trending?
I'll let somebody else take that. Go ahead.
Someone brought up the attention when I was live tweeting during Payback, and I didn't notice it until like the main event. I think that Payback was like the first pay-per-view event where like majority of the people that have won were black or of color in that entire pay-per-view event. Like Bobby Lashley won, he won, Roman won. Of course, like, and it hit me a little bit. And then the pay-per-views prior as well, like, you start to see more people of color winning.
Baszler and Nia Jax.
More shine into, especially Keith Lee as well. That's another one who recently won. For the first time, probably since, I would say, right around like when they first did the brand split in SmackDown, they're trending in the right direction, but we have been here before. It's a matter of, can they stay consistent, like what me and Ty talked about yesterday. It's all about consistency.
Yep.
They stay consistent enough to maintain that trend. And for me, that's my hope that they will. But at the same time, I also think that they will, because as of right now, there's one thing that this pandemic has taught us is the fact that they have no other alternative to. They have no other choice but to try new things and to basically see where they may. Like, me and Ty again had this conversation yesterday, where like with your people of color in terms of characters, you will never get tired of them because they will always find different ways to reel in people to invest into your storylines, and they have with the Hurt Business. With Keith Lee, who they're really, really high on, Bianca Belair, even Asuka, who they made, who they put some importance on her this past year with her being a champion and basically exorcising some past demons. Big E, most recently, if you've seen on Talking Smack,
Big E had in my opinion, he had the best performance at Payback.
Yeah.
Him and Sheamus. For years, whenever you see them in a match on the card, they always bang it, and they always do that bro kick into the power bomb spot. And I love they always have a great chemistry. It brings you back to the Haas days of like the real heavyweight fights. Big E was on every cylinder, selling wise that night, action wise. Sheamus, to his credit, he's one of the best workers the company doesn't give enough appreciation for either. And they made Big E look like a star. The way he was yelling at Graves. I love how the consistency of just harassing Graves. Yeah. But it's true. A lot of the people of color, like, I think one of the things is like a lot of the culture now is steered by those people. Like a lot of the stuff that you've seen in the past like 10 or so years has in the history of the world, a lot of it has originated with us. But especially in pop culture, now that people are starting to recognize it, these guys know when they're getting stale. A lot of people in the roster already know when they're getting stale, but these guys, like, between the vernacular, whether it be the way they switch up, the way they, like, similar to, like, code switching, like, they, like, emotion switch, like Big E was talking about in his promo, where he's like, he knows when to turn it up, he knows when to get serious. Montez and Angelo Dawkins know, too. It's not always the same archetypes you see with a lot of these characters where it's like they're always either uber serious or uber funny. Like, there is a balance, like, to what Randy's saying.
You
So
you know what I think it is? It's like it's honestly a perfect storm in a way, right? Like, you have this whole movement, as you mentioned, like it's driven by a lot of these wrestling fans who happen to be minorities, and there happens to be a very diverse roster. But also, I think a bigger element, not to undersell the whole deal, but the fact that, Randy touched on it, the fact that it's a pandemic, right? I think that a big element that, Vince and whoever, like the powers that be, they wouldn't be quick to like, and which is why I'm a little more confident now as opposed to, years prior. They wouldn't be so quick to change just because of fan reaction. Because sometimes they mistake, oh, Cesaro's not getting traction. Oh, let's put him lower on the card. Or this person's not, just 1 week, and all it takes is 1 week sometimes. Like maybe Vince McMahon is like in town at some random town in Colorado, and he comes up on a SmackDown, and he's just like, oh, they're not getting over, let's pull it back, or let's not give it attention. Now you got guys like Apollo Crews going through the motions, struggling, getting better, and being better for it.
Yep.
Because we could praise them when they're doing good, but we could sit there and be critics as well. I'm not trying to say
it's
that,
like the analogy of like when you're a person who hits the lotto.
yeah,
You start making those new friends. They're there for you for a while. You act like you can rely on them. But when you go broke and you sitting in that house with no furniture in it, like you in the Fresh Prince, and you look to your left and you see your old friends, and you look to your right, you see your family, you realize who was really there for you in the first place. And you could choose at that point to either keep digging the hole that you're in or appreciate what you have. And I feel like the pandemic has kind of put Vince in a situation where like he can resist, he can kick, he can be like out kicking and screaming as much as he wants, that he doesn't have what he used to have. But now you start to realize what you're surrounded by, and what you're surrounded by across the board in this company is one of the most talented collections of talent you can find. That's why last week when the Roman thing happened and everyone was saying it was needed for him to come back, I disagreed heavily. And I said with a roster like SmackDown's roster, you just let's say the names on that roster. And you're telling me that it was essential Roman came back? No offense to him. I'm happy he's back. But I'm just saying, when you realize what is actually there, you watch, like, you can have a real debate about that, is what I'm trying to say.
yeah, it definitely. Yeah,
I have to say this is probably the best creative-wise in certain areas, the best we've seen from WWE creative-wise in certain areas in a very long time. I have to give it to them. The writing has not been perfect, which we expect. Some of the direction has not been perfect, which we also expect.
But there is promise.
But there's definitely promise. There's definitely, you're seeing new stars being developed. You're seeing things that fans have been calling for a very long time. And the fact of the matter is this. Yeah, Ty, Roman was not needed to come back on SmackDown right away, but we don't know where this storyline with Bray and Strowman is going.
Oh, I'm not down the storyline.
No. I'm saying that to make a point. Like, it's like, because they want to push Big E as, a top babyface. So you need a top babyface to go against a top heel. But the thing is, to build up, we already know Roman Reigns has the credentials. We know it. But Big E doesn't have the credentials, unfortunately. As a singles guy, he doesn't have the credentials. So he has to build up. Who is it? I mean, I think Sheamus was probably one of his biggest wins as a singles competitor.
absolutely. And
the last person he fought, if I'm not mistaken, the last person he beat for a single title was Curtis Axel.
I'll wrap it up.
Now, hold up.
I got you, Ty. I got you. Because no. I feel like it's two sides of the same coin, right? It's essentially, and I'll bring it back, the analogy to sports, right? We all look at, this person, superstar is going to this team, this superstar is going to that team. It's Kawhi Leonard going to the Raptors, essentially. It's a fantastic team. It's a successful team. You have people who are developing and all these different type of stuff, and then you throw Kawhi Leonard and it's a championship. It's not a necessity that he's there, because the team is capable of succeeding on its own and potentially reaching the tip of the iceberg, but it's a person who puts him over the top. It's not necessarily.
Exactly. And it's not to say that Roman couldn't have come back when he did. I'm saying when you look at the roster and you look at a roster with guys like AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Cesaro, John Morrison, The Miz, Biggie Langston, you have guys who have been in the eye of the audience for a long time. Many of these guys are people that a majority of fans have been calling for something to happen to them for a while. And AJ's done great in terms of like he's been always been able to have a good spot on the card. Not always the best writing, but he's always been able to keep his brand credible. But a lot of these other guys, even if it took like maybe 3 months, I guarantee you, if you spent 2 months watching these guys grind, be given time, chances, spots, and opportunities, that what month are we in? We're in September now, September 1st, right? By the time we get to November, you'd be talking about how strong SmackDown's roster is, how great that they're doing, and that they can do no wrong. I know it takes time. It definitely takes time, but if you don't put in the time to try, then there's no point in saying they don't have enough time to get to the goal. You know what I mean?
Okay,
So
I can see what you're saying.
that's what I'm saying. I like the fact that Roman's back. I like the fact that he's here and he's been wanting to do this. He's been chomping at the bit for a while. The thing is like Randy and I talked about before, the consistency of how you push everything from the underground up to the surface makes the biggest difference, because how many times have we seen WWE take a Band-Aid and cover a giant wound? If they used Roman in that capacity, Roman would not be being used to his full abilities, to his full potential. It would stunt everything.
I just feel like they're setting this up for Big E's path to the championship.
Oh no, yeah,
And
he definitely could be one of the people. But imagine,
mark my words. I feel like we're gonna get another feel good Mania moment this next year, and it's gonna involve Big E in some way, shape, or form. He's not gonna have a mid card title.
If it happens at 37 and then next year 38, I see another black dude beat somebody with wet hair for the WWE or Universal Championship.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna cry. Like
I'm gonna sit here and be like, we had a three-peat of black champions.
I ain't gonna.
Next is Xavier Woods.
WWE didn't blow a 3-0 lead.
Listen, I'm be honest. I'm gonna be wholly critical with Xavier Woods. He's my boy. He's basically pretty much wrestling's childish Gambino because they live in the same town. Very multifaceted. I'm gonna say this: motherfucker, stay healthy, please. Stay healthy.
And even if it ain't Xavier, imagine it's Apollo at 38. Or Lashley finally getting it by that point.
Listen,
or something. I'm just saying.
Tyler,
or if it's Mustafa Ali.
Tyler, I'm not gonna cry. All right. Like, listen, I ain't gonna I cry for Kofi, man. Like, listen, if this happens for Big E,
we lost our voice.
Listen, man, I only have so many tears, man.
Like, so many tears. You better not be crying no other fluids. It better be tears.
So let's dribble it back, because we are mentioning obviously the positives and creative positives that been going on. I want to really quick get into some Book of Berries, you know what I mean, essentially, and target a little bit of SmackDown, a little bit of Raw, kicking it off with Aleister Black. We've touched a little bit, you know what I mean? We touched on him a little bit. Boy came back. He got the, everybody seems to have the eye patch deal because, shout out to the most badass. It's the most badass. Are we booking or burying this heel turn from one Aleister Black?
Got one book.
I'm booking it too.
I'm gonna say book for the reason of it still takes some. We still got to see where it goes. But one plus that I like that Aleister looks possessed half the time he's doing this. Like he'll snap into like, oh God, I'm hurt, death. And then another plus, the Black Mass as a on your knees execution.
Yes.
How you made that move even more. I was talking about a couple weeks ago how Murphy got sliced on the second rope. This man, Kevin Owens, got executed. Like, how Black would use his foot, bring you to your standing position? Imagine he just brings you to your knees. It's like, it's so symbolic. It's like you're begging for mercy or you're just hoping he'll spare him. Nah, decapitation.
I didn't know that he could make that move even more deadly.
My point exactly.
It's just
this.
How?
I don't always agree with heel turns, but a guy like Aleister Black was built to murder people.
You know what's crazy? It's crazy. We could have, storylines aside, but just character-wise, how they've been built. They already had 2 out of the 3 in the triple threat match. We could have a triple threat match between Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, and Aleister Black. 3 psychotic-ass motherfuckers.
But speaking of that, Yo, you saw how
Eyes
Black
versus
Orton
punch
interacted
versus
last night?
yeah.
Did you see how like Orton was like, yeah, 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 and Alistair was just like, just on his helms. You like imagine that alliance.
Don't do that.
Oh,
Imagine all
God.
those voices.
Don't do that.
You know how many people would die on the
A black
roster?
mass.
Don't do
Then turn
that.
him around into the arc. That would be the new X mark, the new DX finisher of professional
Don't
wrestling,
do
and be
that.
more slick.
Don't
I'm
do
telling you. Imagine a punt
That
kick.
would be most
Head goes up into the
disgusting.
black mass. Oh my God.
You got
That
to
would be the most disgusting finisher.
Give us the next topic.
That's a
Let's
Mortal
get a
Kombat
topic.
we got to keep going.
Next Booker Barry.
I'm gonna bring y'all up.
These tag finishers,
down.
bro.
Bring y'all down. Raw tag division. We seen
2K, do you hear this? You got another year on this game.
Yeah, 2 years on this game.
You do.
Bro.
2 years. Next
Punch
year.
kick into the black mass. Black mass into the RKO. I'm asking for it.
Get it together.
Virtual
Dude.
basement.
Either
Somebody.
Either that or do some THQ shit where you could put it all together. Like you could get the
For
time.
no reason.
Just yeah. So Booker Berry, you got the Raw Tag Division. Obviously, certain things has been going on with the Raw Tag Division. You got the Street Profits, and it seems like they've been on autopilot in their feud with Angel Garza and Almas. Retribution comes in and bumps some heads. That's still a whole deal in and of itself. But as it pertains to the Raw Tag Division, are we booking or burying where it's been going?
Nah, that should have been done at SummerSlam. Barry.
We burying that? We burying
Yeah.
that? Let me lump that in with I'll tell you what. Let me lump that in, make it a little intriguing with Mysterio and Rollins. Because the whole payoff essentially, more or less, you could cement it at a SummerSlam, but it carried over. So, I'd say a Booker Berry for carryover storylines. Are we up, down, in between?
When done right, yeah. But I mean, you could also make the case that they didn't have to do Apollo and MVP at SummerSlam. They could have went straight to Apollo and Lashley. So it's really about the sequence of events. How. So I say book for carryover. Carryover and crossover is great, but you also have to order it right so that it doesn't feel like there was a missed opportunity or feels like this should have happened at the bigger event. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Getting into this, we touched on it earlier, the celebration of Nia Jax. It was on some crazy stuff. We got a little mini Cesaro and Sheamus dynamic brewing before our very own eyes. Are we booking or are we burying it? What are we doing, man? What are we doing?
I'm on the fence with this one, but
I'm neutral.
I'm kind of on the fence. I'm gonna say why I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence because we've said this already before when we first made predictions for this match. There's such an odd pairing. It's like
I'm gonna book it.
Yes, let's go. Thank you.
I'm on the fence.
Let me see if I can try.
Thank you.
It's such an odd pairing.
I'm gonna bet on myself that I can try and make this make sense. Now look, Cesaro and Sheamus is the perfect way to put it because these two are two people who on their own should be contenders for a championship. In the case of Cesaro and Sheamus in that year, Intercontinental title, Cesaro many people projected beyond that. In this situation, both of these women have kind of been done wrong storyline-wise. Both of these women have been in a funk on TV, and to the credit of WWE, they tried to make something out of it. They don't have a tag division right now. They're a very dominant pairing, but they can easily lose because of their dysfunction. Nia Jax, for the past couple years, has had no personality. A lot of her her shine, a lot of her brand has been built around the fact that she looks different. She acts different than most women. But in terms of her actual personality, it's like she can look glamorous and kill you. That's all most people would get at face value. Now you're seeing Nia Jax actually showing some personality. You're seeing some of the shit you saw with her on Total Divas. And that is going to help make Nia a more, likable character, a more relatable character. And it's also going to help with the fact that most people don't like her. And it's not like, the desired kayfabe heat. Legitimately, a lot of people don't see the reason why, we said it before. A lot of times people feel like she's only there because of her position and the fact that she's such an anomaly. Now you want to see where she goes because now you're seeing, she has personality. She feels more comfortable than Mike. Now she's cutting promos. And then the perfect foil to that is a serious-ass Shayna Baszler. plus there's a history between the two because who's Shayna Baszler's best friend?
Rhonda.
You know what? And listen, he took the words right out of my mouth. I can't put it any better, honestly.
I mean,
I
I
can't
get
put it
it.
any better.
I get it.
If Nia goes rogue, Shayna's got those goons. That is my last statement on this.
That's it.
Shayna's
That's
got those
it,
goons.
man.
Give me your title.
Damn.
Listen, because the thing is, listen, from the jump, what is the WWE try
Take this off. Yeah.
right? Like, the thing is, from the jump, like, what has WWE tried to teach us about Nia Jax? She's this vicious, angry,
Her theme song.
person. And it's just like,
Not like
no,
Oscar.
like, this ain't you. Like, this ain't you. Like, the Total Divas, that's you. You being confident about your body, that's you.
Those
Body
small
positive,
moments on TV, we occasionally see it. That's you.
yeah. And
When
then
you
on the
start
opposite
getting
end,
hairstyles, you started to see
Yeah.
more and more coming out.
and to be honest with you, like, not to say that, NXT did a very good job with Shayna Baszler. Not saying that there was, like, crazy flaws and whatnot, but they didn't capitalize on all Shayna Baszler. She has great comedic timing as well. So you have that.
Thank R-Truth for that as well.
You have that. No, I don't. Because she
You know
had
what? In the vein of Shayna Baszler, we have to dedicate a whole episode to Rey Mysterio's 2020. Because Shayna got a role to play in that, too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's true. Like, why does WWE,
back,
with
bro.
every Samoan wrestler who's just naturally made for this sport, have to suppress them to fit a certain role? Like, Nia don't got to be the big show of the WWE. She could be the big show of the WWE, where she's the charismatic giant who can do all this nonsense. Why she just got to be Andre Light? Stop calling her the
2001, basically 2001 Big Show, and he was doing mad different character shit.
I need that, man.
One
Something.
character after another.
Like, if Nia, if she got potential to do it, let her do it. I say book it. Y'all tripping.
Right? Thank you.
Y'all
Thank
I
you.
wasn't saying
Thank you. I thought I was
I was neutral.
No, you said you were neutral, bro. That's not enough, man.
I'm
That's
staying neutral. I'm staying there.
Indecisiveness is a decision. That's what
There's
it is.
a lot of promise. I'll say that. It could go wrong, but there's a lot of promise. And if
I'll
you
tell you
think
what.
that
Hey.
if the current booking decision has promise, you got to give this one a little bit of a chance.
Listen. Hey, Randy, I'm tell you this much. All right. If you say to your friend, nah, you got it, Jay, because, hey, listen, if you say to your friend, yo, man, you going out to this party, I don't know if I am, I don't know if I ain't, that's a no. So hell no. We ain't counting. Indecision is a decision. Next topic.
What is going to turn into? Like, you don't know.
Indecision is a decision. Indecision is a decision.
Why we got
You know
more
what?
tag teams in the actual division right now?
Listen. Hit up a love interest of yours and try to get an answer. If it's an indecision, it's a decision. Next topic, we getting booking Barry in the Hurt business, the expansion of the Hurt business. Not necessarily of a potential. We could talk about a Cedric Alexander rumoring, but the expansion of actually having some gold around your waist. You're running Raw Underground, even though we still don't know what the hell is, it's gonna be made out to be. And with the potential of having all those things, we doing the thumbs up. Orange Cassidy just.
I'm booking it because, in terms of the broadest definition of expansion, they need more. They've already shown they could dominate the show. The potential for Cedric Alexander to eventually join them. I think a lot of people picking Ricochet, including you brought up Saul Monster earlier, right?
That would be
I still think on a similar level to Seth Rollins, if you pick Cedric Alexander, I think it will be a cleaner fit, an unexpected fit, but a cleaner fit. We were talking about it an episode or so ago, and I mentioned the fact that, like, Cedric Alexander's finishing maneuver sells him being a heel off rip. The way people die off of that damn lumbar check, look, it writes itself. They're going to expand with gold. They're going to expand with new members. They need some young blood because it's all veterans right now. You want to show depth to your roster, and you want to promise the future, like Randy's been preaching for how many episodes since we on 20? You got to do it. You got to book it, man.
I definitely got to book that. And I'm gonna say this last one for Monday Night Raw. Of course, we saw the Iconics on Raw. They're having this little, again, this universe feud with Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan, and basically they're kind of just like towing down. I want to touch on them, guys. We got to talk about them. These were supposed to be the pillars of the women's tag division? Are we booking or burying what they're trying to do with them?
You know what? I'm gonna be different here. I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna book it. I'm gonna book it for this reason.
Fuck you, man. God damn it. God damn it.
Yeah, I'm taking one out. I'm taking a page out of your book.
Alright.
You on the
Well,
wrong page. We were 3 pages ago. God damn. You can get fucking
I'm doing this because
bullshit.
there's rumors going around that Peyton Royce might break out as her own star.
Oh no.
So, I mean, the women's division right now, they don't have anybody in the women's division.
God damn it.
And you know Vince loves his blondes.
God.
Yeah.
He's
What?
not even a real blonde.
She's not. That's the sad part.
God bless
I
America.
mean, a lot of them aren't, to be real with
A lot
you.
of them aren't.
A lot of them
So
aren't
it's
even
like-
real blonde.
It's like you make a new star out of something. Billy Kay, I don't know what they're gonna do with Billy Kay afterwards. But
This is exactly
Royce,
why. This is why I didn't
Peyton
want
Royce is the
Montez
star.
or Angela to break up either. I'm just they didn't even get a
But
chance.
the Iconics weren't even doing anything. They're not doing anything. They were.
If you ain't
champs
doing
just
anything in the
because
house,
they
does that
were.
give me the right to kick you out of the house before you try? Depends on how many weeks we haven't been doing anything. But the point is, like, you got to understand, man. Like the
Going
Iconics were pegged as they were being pegged as the Edge and Christian of what could have been a women's tag division. And for how many years have they been put on the shelf or put on the side? Well, I mean, part of it was due to injury at one point, but even before that, it's like, look at the women's tag team champions that we've had. They did hold it. Don't get me wrong, but like they didn't get to really do anything with it. You know what I mean? Like in terms of being in the women, what should be the women's side of it? I'm just saying, like, if you drop Billy Kay from the Iconics and just give the gimmick to Peyton Royce and just let her be the funny one, what the fuck? Like, you're just gonna make another single star out of nowhere? Like, I could be completely honest with you. She's just gonna take Carmella's spot, and Carmella's not even here to claim it.
I mean, that's fine. Look at success Carmella's had.
Carmella had one title reign, and then we don't even remember it because half of the past couple years she's just been trying to chase our truth, and our truth's too fast. You can't chase that, man. Unless you show.
We ain't doing this. We ain't doing this. Look at the success when they have 2 title belts. We get that to another day. I do have a
Do you
differing
remember
opinion.
anything Carmella has done in the past 2 years?
Moonwalk. That's it.
Moonwalk
She does
had
that
nice
every year.
Jordans.
And I love
She was-
Carmella, but it's like
And change her
If
attire.
you want to go back further than that, she was Miss Money in the Bank. If you want to go back further than that, she was SmackDown.
He wasn't Miss Money in the Bank. It was James Ellsworth. What you mean? That was a rental. That was a rental, man. That was a rental.
That
was a rental.
We gotta keep it pushing. We gotta keep pushing. The last Booker Berry.
Corey Graves gonna flag this video.
We talking SmackDown here. We were talking about Bray Wyatt. We talk about Bray Wyatt. We talk about his storyline.
Look at him trying to hide his face behind the title. Look at this.
Hey, listen, man.
Look at this.
We talked about it earlier. Alexa Bliss going a little cuckoo. She broke Nikki Cross's mug, her gift to Nikki Cross.
Oh, that hurt my heart.
Broke that damn mug. For some reason, Tamina was there.
Now how important it is when you get your
broke her
first
mug,
mug.
man.
That's how you know you're an adult, when you get your own mug, you got your
And-
own cup in
Right?
the house.
And then you get tight when somebody break your
I
mug.
never thought I'd see a woman out crazy Nikki Cross unless AJ came back. That's a highlight from the segment in itself.
But yeah, don't get any. Yeah, right.
I'll pick you.
What? I mean, she had the gimmick though. Like,
CM Punk has just joined the Zoom.
I'm not saying she is.
Yeah,
I'm saying
right.
that she had the gimmick. Like, imagine AJ Lee in 2012 and Nikki Cross in like peak sanity, just like a stare down.
Tyler.
What?
All the arches. But anyway, Alexa Bliss
I'm trying to talk like a goddamn adult. Y'all over here,
Going
some horny ass
Harley
boys.
going
Look at
Harley
my
Quinn. Are we booking or
I'm
burying
booking it.
out? All right, yeah.
I'm booking it before CM Punk comes into this Zoom. I'm booking it.
Get Ty, where you at, man? Where you at?
I'm at maturity. That's where I'm at.
Okay. All right. Well,
I'm saying, like, I love it. I originally was kind of iffy on it. Like, you know, we talked about how many different storyline directions they can go with it, some of which we couldn't even name because there are too many avenues, right?
Yeah.
The fact that they're going back, like the fact that Nikki Cross, I think last SmackDown even made mention of the fact that, like, you know, Alexa Bliss is going back to wearing her old hairstyle, looking like her old self. It teased the heel turn because that's what she was wearing in the peak of her SmackDown time. Now she's going back to the Harley Quinn thing, and it's no longer just a cosplay for fun that she did at the time of the movie. Now we really are going to get something like the Joker, which is ironic because some people have made the mention that the Fiend mask reminds them of that one Joker comic where he took off his face and he put it back on. There's a lot of there's levels to this that I don't think people are going to realize until like the documentary comes out maybe 10 years from now, but it's pretty interesting. So I got to say I'm going to book it and see where it goes.
Word to Mark Hamill. Hello, Harley.
Okay, that's fucking scary. Let's edit that out. Let's edit that out.
Keeping that in.
Pause.
Pause. There's no need for pause at this point.
Now I get to be immature, you horny ass motherfuckers. You know, you're talking about arches everywhere. Gee, we're not talking about McDonald's.
So
arches.
So guys, you know, obviously, you know, we are recording on Tuesday. Yesterday was Monday Night Raw. Tonight is NXT. So a very, very special NXT show that is headlined by the vacant NXT Championship title. I want your bold predictions for this Iron Man match.
Oh, you mean Vegas champion again? No.
Yes, Chris Benoit.
It's like his 800th reign.
That's a fact, bro. Now,
bold prediction. Bold prediction. We want to get creative here. We want to leave the audience with some to sink their teeth into. You know what I'm saying? Let them have it.
Going Finn?
We got two Finns. Eric,
I'm not actually. I changed my mind from last week. I'm not going Finn.
Pinball?
You know what?
Just hug your title.
I hate to go against Adam Cole.
Hug your title. Clutch it for dear life.
But you know what? Goldie is coming back home. Goldie is coming back home. He's got to win it tonight. Listen, the vicious attack that he had in his first match back.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, when I pitch something, it eventually works. Because this
just,
man was all Finn last week.
I really was. I was all in on Finn.
You had a Gene moment. It's okay.
I definitely had a Gene moment. I was like, yo, Finn's going to win it. You know, but then I'm like, yo, NXT UK is definitely coming back in a few weeks. And I'm like, travel ban will be lifted. Finn could go to UK, fight for the title. Yeah, no, can't do it. Sorry, Finn. Yeah.
Unless they want to build to an NXT champion versus champion match.
But I'm so tired of
that. They did that already.
I know.
I don't know.
I'm sick of the 2-belt thing.
Now you're sick of the 2-belt thing.
I've been sick of the 2-belt thing. I don't want them to do that on NXT.
I'm sick of your 1-belt just shining in the light here. I'm sick of how much screen time.
Listen, don't make me bring the Seth Rollins line.
Your belt is getting more screen time than Gene.
Oh, nah.
Where is he?
Listen. He has enough screen time.
Honestly. I missed it last week because of an outage.
Yeah.
What happened?
Ty is back this week with a vengeance.
What happened?
Listen, man. I don't know, man. He's a busy guy, man. He's a busy guy.
Busy guy.
He's in an undisclosed location, man.
He is somewhere being a Roman lover because low-key, he is happy that Roman has turned heel and won the Universal title. Next topic. Let's move on.
It's actually
rent-free.
I'm going to give my prediction so we can transition out of this. I want Finger Guns to win, but I have a feeling it's going to be Mr. Hug winning this championship.
Right.
You're not going to give him Thug Walk? You're not gonna call him Thug Walk?
I'm not gonna call him Thug Walk. I'm gonna call him Hug Walk. That's basically what he's been doing with that belt. I want Fergal to win so goddamn bad, but I know how this is gonna go. If it ends up on Adam Cole on some wild card type mess, I'm just gonna stop watching for 3 weeks. I'm
so sorry, Adam Cole.
I'll be damned.
I'm so sorry I went against you.
Yeah. NXT's tonight. We're gonna watch it. I hope y'all enjoy it. This Friday we're gonna have another. Hold on. Friday, I think we're gonna record. We're gonna record at some point in time later on this week. Y'all gonna stay tuned to it. We're gonna cover ourselves some all-out predictions. We're gonna cover SmackDown a little more in depth. We're gonna cover some other things later on in the week, of course. By the way, quick shout out. No, this has absolutely nothing to do with professional wrestling. Rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman. Rest in peace to Black Panther.
Yes, Black Panther. Hold on.
Because I'll tell you this much, guys.
Wakanda forever.
every single time me and Tyler, we had this conversation. It's like every time somebody with a spear returns to television, like some crazy shit happened. Royal Rumble happened, Kobe died.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't celebrate that shit. Like Roman's situation happened, and it was just like, Roman, he's with Paul Heyman. 5 minutes later, I got the news. I was just like, I can't even be happy now. Like
Mean Gene broke the news in the group chat. I'm like, you was why?
Yeah.
And I checked for the trusted source in news, Twitter, and it was true.
Yeah,
and
but
I was shocked because
just to tie it up in a bow, to be honest, like we mentioned it like in episodes like preceding this one, clearly, with the the suicide with Hannah and everything. Guys, you don't know what's going through, what a celebrity's going through.
You don't
question it, don't worry about it, all that stuff. If anything, you basically like give them that respect and that credence, because I saw a lot of people kind of being nasty to them.
If you not, work on your own damn lives. Stop messing with everybody else's.
Exactly. So there's that. That's our story. We're gonna stick to it. We're gonna wreck people and leave. We're the Mean Gene's favorite wrestler, and
ass ain't here.
And then he says yes sir afterwards. But well done. On that note, Golden Child, People's Champ, Kid Ty, Diamond Cutter.